Well, yes, indeed, Mark Way, and we're turning attention now to the new Lagos Land Use Charge Law. We've got two gentlemen here with us in the studios. On my immediate right, it's Mr. Akinyemi Ashade, who is the Commissioner for Finance in Lagos, and on my far right, we've got Mr. Babatunde Gbadamosi, who is now the Secretary of Nigeria Intervention Movement. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you. It's a pleasure coming.
Now, there's been a lot of questions about what this law is about, why it came, and there are different groups, as we see property owners, private sector, saying a thing or two about this. First, give us your background. What informs this law in the first place?
Thank you very much. This is not a new law.
It's not new?
It's not new. Land use charge law has been in existence since 2001 in Lagos State. It has been a consolidation of three taxes. We have the ground rents, we have the tenement rates that ordinarily is collected by local governments, but under the law, the state became agents for that collection. And then we have neighborhood improvement charges. What is neighborhood improvement charges? Neighborhood improvement charges just means that when government build infrastructures, you will see the impact on the neighborhood in terms of improvements in lifestyle, even the value of properties. So there is some kind of charges that should be paid to. So these are the three broad tax heads that have been consolidated in what we now have as land use charge. And I'll probably talk about the ground rent specifically. Ordinarily, there are two types of COVs that you have, or what we call we have the statutory right of occupancy and what we call the deemed grants. The deemed grant is when you get your land from the natives, or what we call the moneyless. So maybe they had decisions and you build properties there. So it seems as if government has given you a COV. And ordinarily COV is for 99 years for government schemes and all that. Ordinarily, based on the law, ground rent should be paid because you are deemed to be tenants of Lagos State government and have given you the rights to use the property for 99 years. So these are the three tenement rates, ground rent, neighborhood improvement charges that have been consolidated in. What do we have now? In the old law, there was a provision that every 5 years there should be a review. That hasn't been done up till now.
We'll come back.
So, and that's what has led to.
We'll come back and take a look at that, and then several other provisions of that law in a moment. Join us again. We're still focusing on the Lagos Land Use Charge Law, but the Commissioner says it's not new, and he says it's been there since 2001. But having explained that consolidation,
yes,
the tenement, the neighborhood charges, could there have been a misconception in the fact that consolidating all of this, then of course, yes, it's 2018, but that concept of it not being new, are we also mindful of that?
Well, I'll tell you this. As far as I'm concerned, the land use charge law, as it was in 2001, as it has been amended today, is one of the symptoms of unconstitutionality that have been the hallmark of governance in Lagos State
Even though this
for the last 20 years.
How is it unconstitutional if it
I'll
goes
explain
through
to
the
you.
process?
The 1999 Constitution is the ground norm of Nigeria. It's the absolute law of laws. Any law that contradicts it, to the extent to which it contradicts the Constitution, is, to all intents and purposes, null and void, and of no effect.
Any contradiction here?
There is. Section 1J of the 4th schedule of the Constitution states very clearly that the powers to rate properties for the purpose of levying, the power to value properties for the purpose of levying any rates and so on, residential properties and empty tenements, lies with the local government. It's very clear. There is no ambiguity. And there is nowhere also in the Constitution where local governments are allowed, either implicitly or by by implication, to farm out that responsibility, or any of their responsibilities for that matter. Okay? The second schedule of the Constitution also states clearly that the State Houses of Assembly...
You said this is Section 1J?
Section 1J of the fourth schedule of the Constitution. Okay.
So, in the meantime, do you think that if we had a situation where local governments were given autonomy, because this whole adjustment or change in the Land Use Act in Lagos State is to see that development gets to places and even faster?
I don't
do you
know.
think that, let me land on my question. Do you think that if we had autonomy for the local government areas, we would have been able to reach that point where development gets to the people, despite not necessarily going the way of adjusting the land use laws?
To the extent that the idea of local government autonomy sort of gives the local governments a little more independence, I agree with it. But it's almost tautologous, because the Constitution already states very clearly what the responsibilities of the local governments are. In terms of autonomy, I would probably be looking at something like security of tenure for the chairman, so that they can't be removed on the whim of a governor. Okay? I would be looking at things like financing. Their monies that are coming from the federal government should not be, should not be domiciled.
So it doesn't
under the
necessarily
control of the state
development.
government.
It doesn't necessarily translate into development.
Yes, it should. But the state governments have usurped all the powers of the local governments in the area of first finance.
Because autonomy is
and
not
in the
yet
areas
in
of
place
their
for the
responsibilities.
state, for the local government.
So autonomy is a good thing in that respect.
Okay, but let's come back to the land use charge. As
Yes.
I said, you talked about what the Constitution says.
Yes.
Let's come back. When you were talking about it, you said it's supposed to be shared between the state and the local government.
Yes.
But how much of the sharing is going to go to the local government, and why should it be so if, according to the Constitution, it is the local governments that are supposed to value the buildings for the purpose of levying?
I think we need to clarify something here, and that's why I took my time to explain the consolidation. And let's come from the point of what we have in the constitutions. When you look at the constitution, you have a series of tariffs that the local governments can levy. We've gone through this process before, when the organized private sectors, the manufacturers and everybody complained that quite a lot, multiple taxation. So any genuine attempt by the lawmakers to consolidate these taxes will enhance ease of doing business. Because what we are saying is that instead of, and currently what we are doing in Lagos is even to look at some of these things and find a way to consolidate some of these things. So it's even reduced, and we can just have one or two of 5 taxes that local governments can concentrate on instead of all those laundry lists. So back to the issue of the land use charge. 3 components: neighborhood improvement charges, that is to be collected by the states; ground rent, and I've given you examples. If you are holding C of O in Lagos State, you are our tenants. You should be paying rent that is commensurate with economic realities. That is the law. And the third aspect of it is the tenement, which is the one that local governments, we have out of 3, 2 belongs to the state, 1, but they are all related property taxes. So the law has just really provided a framework for collection. And what the law has also done, there's a section of the law which has made the states agents of local government for the collection of the tenement rates. And there's a framework of how this can be done. So in terms of constitutionality, this has gone through the House of Assembly. It's been done since 2001. What we did recently is just to review the law.
If I may come in. So you're saying now that even as the Constitution has said, the local government is in charge of collecting this tenement.
The tenement,
tenement.
One out of 3.
Focus,
yes.
Tenement. I use the word tenement. The state is now an agent to the local government.
Exactly.
Why is that?
Because the state is more efficient in collection. We have the resources to deploy to be able to facilitate collection, and we then share to our local government.
Can we humanize this a
Yes.
little bit? Are the laws of Lagos for the people of residents of Lagos, or are the residents of Lagos for the laws of Lagos?
The laws are for good governance of our citizens.
So if the citizens are going to be burdened by these laws, it doesn't make any difference.
No, let me just step back. In 2001, that we have these laws. Are the citizens burdened? Maybe we need to explain something. What exactly are the gray areas? This law, like I said, is not a new law. A review has been done.
But it repeals 2001.
It's a review has been done, which is that a reenactment of that law in 2000.
Sorry,